Hey everyone, I'm Bobby, and today I'm going to show you how to get started with my NFT generator that creates and mints NFTs on the Hedera network. Let's jump into it. So if you watched the last video, I showed you how it worked, the NFT generator tool. In this video, I'm going to show you how to clone it down and get started, okay? So this is the GitHub repository. It is public, free to use. Before we jump into it, if you wouldn't mind just liking this video and dropping a comment, it's massively helpful in building my YouTube channel, and also just subscribe and click the bell. That way, every time I add a video, you're notified. Okay, so this is the repo. Load stuff, everything you possibly need is here. Just scroll down to the README section. So this project has been developed to help you create and mint NFTs on the Hedera network. It's a Dockerized project. So if you watch my previous videos, coding in Python with Hedera is quite difficult. You need to use a Python wrapper over the Java SDK, because at the time of recording this, there was no Python SDK. So to make it nice and easy, I've bundled it all into a Docker container. So Docker does all the heavy lifting. So all you need to do is just fire it up with some envs and away you go. So the stack is the Java SDK with a Python wrapper. So it's a community written Python SDK, which is a wrapper. We're using Django, which is a Python web framework, so that we can do everything we need to do in a browser. We use Celery as a worker to handle tasks. We use Redis as a messenger that works with Celery. We're using IPFS, so the Interplanetary Filing System. I love that name. So this is a way that we can store images in a decentralized manner. And Flower is a URL that we can visit when we've got it all up and running, where we can see the tasks working. So prerequisites, you must have Hedera credentials. So click this link, we'll take you to the portal, get yourself signed up. It takes a few minutes. Get testnet credentials, public key, a private key, or an operator ID and an operator key. You need those, okay? Get yourself signed up, don't take a second. Also, install Docker. When it's hit on your machine, it will look something like this, okay? This is Docker Desktop, get it installed, we'll need that, okay? And also some artwork. So this app, this tool, layers PNG images on top of one another to create a unique image. So we need artwork, because if you just layer empty PNGs, you have an empty image. So get some artwork, okay? Doesn't take a minute. And then we'll clone down. So you don't need a GitHub account. You can just click the green button here and download a zip. I have a GitHub account, obviously. So I'm going to use the SSH option here, but you can use any of these. So you can use the CLI or you can use HTTPS. I'll be using this. So I open up my VS Code instance. See, there we go. I love VS Code. It's a text editor, but it acts like an IDE because you've got to have loads of extensions. And if you've never used it, I would urge you to use it. If you're a Python developer, it's fantastic. So I've got a directory on my machine called NFT generator. You can call it whatever you like, it doesn't matter. The full stop there will clone it down in whatever repository you want. But whatever it's called, that is your root directory name, root directory. Does that work? Let's press enter. My keyboard is running out of battery. Oh, here we go. All right, let's do that again. There we go. My SSH has a passphrase. That's why it's doing that. CLS, right, okay, so we've got that terminal clear. There we have it. We have everything we need, but we're missing a few directories, because I try to keep as much out of GitHub as I can, because else it gets cluttered. So we don't have any PY cache, we don't have any migrations, and we don't have any logs. So what we need to do is create those. But if I open up readme.md in preview mode, that's what I love about VS Code. You can open up MD files and it renders it like it would in GitHub, right? So this is what we were looking at in GitHub a minute ago. Cloned it down. We now need to, oh, I updated that. I thought I updated that. I'll make sure it's updated by the time we get to the video. So basically what we need to do, what's missing is make dir logs, okay? We've now got that, okay? That's what's missing. Assuming that you have got a logs directory, use that command and that will create a Celery logs file, okay? It's got nothing in it, but that's basically what it's just created. cd back to NFT generator. Just clear that again. So we're now in NFT generator. Now what we're going to do is, I think you just go copy media files. Will that work? What has that done? Forget that. I forget what the command was that I had in there. We don't need a media files. We need a media files directory. So just look, copy, paste, and rename it. There you go. I'm not too great with commands when I'm under pressure in front of the camera. Media files. There we go. So now what we've got is these here. When you do the collect static, it doesn't do that. You need to actually add an image to the database, and then it automatically creates it. But anyway, I'll make sure those commands are there when you clone down. Right, so next thing we want to do is we need to create an env file. Okay, so we go copy env.template, create .env file. That will create this file here from the template that comes with the project. Now you've got all this kind of gumph. Now you can change this if you want. I would urge you not to. But I mean, I'm going to change this to demo@didcoding.com just because I've got that saved in my bits and pieces. Yeah, don't worry about the secret key or anything like that. This is just kind of stuff that we need. But we do need to look at this. You need an operator ID and an operator key. Now that is your public key and private key from Hedera testnet. Not mainnet, not previewnet, testnet. Get your credentials, get them in here. Keep that as testnet. Now demo user 1 and 2, that will create 2 accounts with account IDs called Bill, called Ben. You can call it what you want. You can call it Ted or John. I'm going to call it Bill and Ben. Now what you now need to look at is this, the traits. Now a trait is a category. If you remember in the last video, I was creating NFTs that had a base, a body, a hair, pants, shirt, bling, props, all that kind of stuff. Each of them are layers. Each of them are categories, right? So you need to separate each category name with a space. If you don't, Django won't like it. It creates a list from all of those names. Just make sure you have that space, okay? And it'll work. For this demo, I'm just going to have base, body, pants. And then this quantity will create 10 database entries for each of those traits. So if I keep that as 10, it'll have 10, 20, 30 database entries, which will be a pain in the ass when adding when later on in this video, right? So I'm going to add 3, so I'll end up with 9. So 3, 6, 9. Okay. Now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to add my credentials and then come out the env file, and then we're on the right page. So one sec. Voila, all done. So we're back in the preview mode of the README file. It's saying add all that stuff. Yeah, a bit of an explanation now in the README file, and then it's saying to fire up Docker. So what this is going to do, I'm going to fire this. It will take 2 or 3 minutes to run. Make sure you are in the root directory, which is NFT generator. Okay, add this command, and that'll go through and just do everything it needs to do. But whilst it's doing it, essentially what we're doing, we're calling everything that's in this Docker compose file. And in here, it's creating a database container, an app, a PG admin. There's a whole bunch of containers in there. And as it's running through each one of these containers, there's a whole bunch of instructions, environments, and things like just basically commands for Docker to know what it's doing. And it points towards the Docker file in here. So this goes through and it creates the Java instance and the Python instance. That's how we can talk. This is how Python works with Java in this container, right? So it goes through and it does all of that. And then once it's up and running, the last thing it does, it calls everything that's in this entry point.sh file. So it creates migration tables. They're basically a database schema in Django. And then it migrates that schema to PostgreSQL. It collects the static, so it gets all of the static files and images and CSS and JavaScript, and it collates them into a static directory. And then lastly, it runs a script. Now it runs this script that creates a super user, it creates the Bill and the Ben accounts, and then it creates all the traits in the database. So although all of this now says done, by rights I should be able to open up my Docker desktop here, and there we go, we've got NFT generator. But I know it won't be up and running yet, because if I open up Django or demo Django app, you can see it's going through, or it will in a second when it's caught up. CPU is running nearly 50%. I'll give that a second. I'm just going to pause the video. There we go. It looks like it's gone over that speed bump. So what it's done is created the database schema that I was saying. So it's created something for accounts, categories, traits, token, NFTs. It's collated all those static files and it's created this directory here. See this static files? We've already got a media files directory which is needed. Don't forget to create that because when you try to generate the artwork, it just won't work. And then it's created it's done some bits and pieces in the database. It's created some dummy users and some traits. Okay, and then at the end of it, it's started to run a development server. So now, if I open my browser, and I normally open it in incognito mode, go into localhost 8000. This is exactly what we're expecting to see. Now I've got a debug panel on the side here. Let's close that down. But if you look at the README file, it'll also say that you can access Flower. Now this is the worker, celery worker. So every time we fire a task towards celery, it'll appear here and it will show you what's been processed and what's been failed. You'll have access to PG admin. Now, if you're familiar with PostgreSQL, this is how you would access, generally speaking, your PostgreSQL instance. So demo at digcoding.com and Hedera. That will say something's been compromised probably. That's the Hedera password. Server, right, so what you do, you register a server, call it what you want, let's call it demo. Click on connection. In here you just put DB. DB is the name of the database container in Docker, that we've called it DB. Docker compose, this here. That's why we're calling this DB. That's what it's referencing, okay? Port 5432, that's correct. And main database is Hedera. And username is Hedera. And guess what? Password is also Hedera. Save the password. Bish bash bosh. We're here. Demo, database. You can then go into Hedera. If you go into schemas, if you go into tables, it'll have all the tables from the project. Okay, this is how you'd access it if you're familiar with PostgreSQL. But if we go back into 8000 and put /admin, this is the built-in admin page that comes with Django. Demo at digcoding. Remember, this email will be different for you if you haven't changed it. It will be, I think it's demo at hedera-digcoding.com. Either way, if you change the email in the env file, that's your new username. And these are all of the tables that we can have access to. So we've created the accounts, Bill and Ben. Here we go. If you open up one of these, it'll have all of the details, public key, private key. Brilliant. It's exactly what we wanted it to do. There won't be no NFTs. There will be 3 categories though, because this is what we've created. Now, one thing you will need to do is just create an ordering. Just put the order in which you want these layers to be. I want the base to be followed by the body, followed by the pants. You don't want the pants and then the body on top, right? We're creating an image of layers. So you want, that's the order in which you want this to work. Now, when I was coding this, I was having a few problems with inconsistencies with query sets. So I just programmed it to have an ordering field as well. Accounts we looked at. Tokens, we have not created a token yet, so that's empty, but traits, we'll have 9 in here. Now, remember, we have 3 for base, 3 for body, 3 for pants. Now, in each of these, you want to open it up. We want to call this one, I'm going to call it red. So I want red base. Now, if I put choose file, I can then open up, I've got a different directory here. Open up base and add that. It stands to reason that each of these PNG files need to be the same size. Okay, so I'm using 1500 pixels by 1500 pixels. Each of them need to be that. Okay, click save. I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to call this one golden. And I'll choose the golden one, or golden-ish hue to it, I suppose. I'll pause it and do all of these, but you can see on the pants, I'll call this one naked. So what would that be? Well, if I go into my pants directory, I've got a blank PNG. So lo and behold, it just won't render any pants onto the image, right? So he's naked. So call that what you like, and that will end up being one of the traits in the properties of the metadata that goes to the NFT. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, I'm going to add all of that info. Okay, just about done. I'm just adding my last body tone. So I'm going to use tone 2 and I'll use this one here. And I've got a ghost one, which is completely white. Okay, so this body tone called ghost would be quite literally pale white. Okay, so now I've done all of my traits, okay? So we're ready to go. You can add descriptions. I haven't bothered, but you can add descriptions. They're not actually used in this project, but I've got them there if you want them. What else is there to do? I don't think that's it. I think that's it there. So we've already looked at Flower, we looked at the development server, we looked at Postgres. One other thing before we move on is I'll show you IPFS. So if I go back in the preview mode, I believe this will work. Let's have a look. Oh, it did work. There you go. So I opened that up, and this is basically IPFS running within Docker. Okay, so this is how we're connecting to it. When we make a call to IPFS, this is how we connect. Okay, happy days. So now all that leaves us to do is create some artwork. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go into localhost 8000. This, because we haven't got a token, it directs us to the token page. We need a token. That's kind of the starting point. Remember in the last video, there's 4 steps. You create a token, you then generate the artwork, you then mint the artwork against the token, and then you associate accounts and transfer. Okay, so kind of 4 steps. It's probably 5 steps I just did then. Anyway, it's 4 or 5 steps. Add a company name. So decoding, token name, Little Bob's, symbol, the ID for decoding, token description, just let's go with demo. Maximum supply, 10. This might come up with a CSRF issue. No. If you do have a problem, so when I was previously looking at this, sometimes if you open up the browser, then open a new one and sign into admin, and you don't refresh the previous page, you'll have a CSRF token issue. Just refreshing it will work. So okay, old ground from the last video, we've created a token. We can generate 10 images. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is Bill. This is Bill's account. Okay, no tokens. Generate some NFTs. Let's go ahead and generate 2. Hopefully it'll work. Generate. It's behind my head. There's a little message here. Happy days. Oh, it's saying none. Why is that? Oh, there we go. It's the salary. It takes a little while to kick in. So if I now go into 5555, go into Flower, okay, you can see that it's processed 1. So that's the job that it processed to generate the artwork. Okay, that's how it works. Let's go. This is the home page. If we go back into tokens, you can see now we've generated 2, but they've been unminted. So the remaining supply is 8 unminted. We need to mint these tokens. Okay, is that doing something? It looks like it is. Yeah, it's created a serial number for both of them. Okay. Now, if you go into the admin page, you'll see what the you'll see the account IDs, the serial numbers, and the IPFS URLs and things like that. But we won't do that. You can have a deeper dive. Look, I've got a little naked mini Bob there, one with some pants. So it's randomly selected objects within the database. That's how it's doing. It's randomizing the selection and layering them, creating the artwork. Okay, great. We've got NFTs. Going to tokens. We've got 2 minted. We can't transfer them. If we try to transfer them, you can't even do it from this page. You need to associate an account to it first. So I'm going to associate Ben. Okay, go back into tokens. You can see now I've got 1 associated account. So if we view the NFTs against this token, I've got Little Bob 1, Little Bob 2. Let's go with a little naked one. It's got all the traits here. So it's base red, pants naked, body tone 1. You've got the metadata. If I click that, it'll open up the file, or it should do. Oh no, it's going to try and open up the IPFS. You might have some problems there. It does sometimes. This is all in development mode, and you have constraints with networks and all sorts. So let's go ahead and transfer. So I'm going to transfer to Ben. He's the only one allocated, associated. Click yes, submit. Hopefully it'll work. There we go. So my available NFTs for Little Bob's is dropped down to just 1 of them now. And if I open up my accounts for Ben, was it? Shit, there you go. Happy days. And it has made an API call to Hedera, and it's now saying, look, we've got one NFT, and lo and behold, we've got one NFT there. Happy days. That is all you need to do to work with this project. Hopefully, I mean, you can create some fantastic artwork. I mean, mine's very pixelated. I actually like it. I said it in the last video, I will be releasing a collection of these pieces of art on Zeus Marketplace, I would have said. So watch this space. If you want to learn more, find out more, please like this video, add a comment, subscribe, click the bell. That's all you need to do. The next video that I put together for this series, this little mini series, if you like, will be looking at the code base. One thing I haven't done so far is open up VS Code and gone in the hood. Okay, so you look at under the APIs, we've got all the Hedera utils, we've got the IPFS utils. I will do a deeper dive on that so you can really understand how this thing works, so you can integrate it into your own project. Thank you very much for watching. I've enjoyed making it. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.